welcome to our channel. We are Dirt Road Couple. I'm Carrie.
I'm Jay.
And today we wanted to go ahead and give you a rig walk-around video because we have actually had some people comment and say, hey, what are you running on that Toyota Tacoma? What modifications have you made? What did you do to it to make it overland worthy? So as per usual, Jay is really good at researching, buying, installing pretty much everything, and I'm really not that good at things. So he's going to give you most of the information. I'm going to interject my 2 cents whenever I feel like I can. But Jay, take it away.
All right, 2019 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road 4x4. That's what we're running. It's not a TRD Pro, TRD off-road, but we made some adjustments to it, or some upgrades to it that make it basically...
We call them mods.
Mods. We've done some mods that make it a TRD Pro-ish, right? Probably just as good, if not better, quite honestly.
Yeah.
All right, so the first mod we did, and because it was a Black Friday sale, was the TRD Skid Plate, which is under here. It's the TRD Pro Skid Plate. I think we got it for like 150 bucks, something like that, on, like I said, on a Black Friday sale, and it's a good piece of gear. Protects the whole undercarriage down there. It's got a nice access panel for changing the oil, and protects everything perfectly.
Another one of the modifications we made was after our first trip out west, the stock tires came back after being out there for 2 weeks, and they were honestly pretty well shredded. So we went ahead and we upgraded to the KO2 tires. They're essentially a 32, and the wheels are the TRD 4Runner 17-inch rims. These made a huge difference on our last trip out there, and they really have come back unscathed. I mean, we did a lot of hauling over rocks and all kinds of stuff, and they're still in awesome shape. So this was a really good buy. Another modification that we made after our first trip was we went ahead and put some new shocks on it. The shocks that came stock on it were fine, but really we found ourselves doing a lot of rocking after we would go over obstacles that would still just continue to rock. So we went ahead and we upgraded the front with the Bilstein 6112s. It gave us about 1.5 inches of extra lift to it. The Bilstein 6112s themselves were about 2.5 inches wide, and the ones that we took off that were stock were only about 1.5 inches. And so size matters, I guess. So it was awesome. It made a huge difference on the last time we were out. Also wanted to mention that the wheel / shocks gave us about 1.5 inches extra, which I think I said. But it has increased the capability of this truck tenfold. It's really done a great job. The drivability is still amazing. You don't get, it's not too high. And I also wanted to mention that it fits in the garage still, which is something that a lot of people might not think of, but it still goes in and out of the garage, but not by much. Had we lifted it any higher, we might have sacrificed that especially. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that too.
Okay, so in the rear, we didn't do a lift, but we put in the, so we're still running the stock springs that came on the truck, and we put on the Bilstein 5160s reservoir shocks. They're 2-inch shocks with a reservoir, and we also put in Firestone inflatable airbags back here to help level out the truck when we put the big loads in while we're overlanding. It's been great. Like Carrie said, it's a huge difference over stock suspension, night and day. Real big fan of these Bilsteins. Definitely give these a thumbs up.
Right now we have our Max Tracks mounted to the front runner rack system, which is a simple $5 Lowe's fix. Jay cut a piece of carpet runner that fits the exact shape of the Max Tracks. It protects the tent cover from having abrasions on it, and then we just secure it with a few small 50-cent bungee cords that hold it into place. Seems to work pretty well.
One of our first and best purchases really was this Diamondback cover. It just provides a really sturdy, durable way to keep crooks and thieves out of your stuff, to keep the dirt out of your stuff. There's a mechanism on the back where you can lock it down when you don't have the rack on it or the tent on it, so you can keep all of your stuff secure. There are 2 different models. We got the lesser of the 2 models. It's slightly cheaper, and I think in hindsight, Jay probably would have bought the more expensive one, but I think this one is awesome. It does the trick. We don't need to haul any like Polaris Rangers or anything on top of this, and I feel like this has done a really good job of protecting our gear. The other thing that we used to run was KB Voodoo rails, which were good. Didn't have a problem with them fundamentally, but you couldn't see anything out of the back window of the truck. They sat so low that anytime I would go to look back, you couldn't see anything. It was all just the tent. So it was pretty blind and kind of dangerous as far as I was concerned. So Jay went ahead and he found out that Front Runner collaborates with the Diamondback system, and they've paired up, and we actually bought these right through Diamondback itself. It sits up a little higher, which is great because it keeps that back window free for me. And you can also, I mean, technically we haven't done it yet, but you could put some stuff underneath that you want to strap down as well. You've got, 6 or 8 inches of extra space that you could put something. So we love this, great purchase. Coming around to the back, this was amazing, life-changing. The mountain hatch. The original cover that was on this tailgate had like ripples in it, and so it wasn't flat at all, and you'd go to set your stuff and it would all spill, your beer especially, and that was very sad. So Jay went ahead and invested in this mountain hatch, which was super easy to install. You just even I could do this. You just unscrew and unbolt all of these. You pop the old one off, you put this mountain hatch on, and it is smooth and is really just a great way. This is where we pretty much do all of our food prep. We set our beers here, we sit here, we climb on this, and when you climb on it and there's not those ridges that hurt your knees, this was a good buy. I don't know how much Jay spent on this, maybe $100, maybe $200, but it was well worth the money. Inside, I guess I should tell you what's inside of our truck. We've got these Plano bins that we carry just about everything in. One of them comes with all of our recovery gear. We keep that stored in there. We've got our tools in it. We have one full of food. We have one full of our dishes and wash materials. So there's a different bin for pretty much everything that we do. And we just keep those all right here in the back. They all fit perfectly. One's got winter gear in it. Yeah, so that's what we do in the back. We'll do a separate video at some point where we show you exactly everything that we pack when we hit the road. But for right now, there's nothing in it. We also did another simple Lowe's fix. We don't have one of the fancy like batwing awnings or whatever. We went ahead and just brought our old sports tent along, and we needed a way to mount it, so we went to Lowe's again and we got some just pretty big L brackets, and we mounted them to the rack itself, and then they just we use bungee cords, and the tent just sits right inside those L brackets. The bungee cords hold it down solid, and it works really well for about $15 as opposed to a whole batwing awning, which would be awesome to have. I'm not saying it, but I don't know A, where we'd put it, and B, I just don't like spending money. So for right now, this works great. The other thing I want to tell you about, I guess, is our CVT tent. This was the purchase right after the truck that we made, basically. Cascadia Vehicle Tents. It is the Mount Shasta. It's been amazing. So we've spent the last, I don't know, we've spent about 50, 60 nights in it at this point, and it's amazing. It's very comfortable. It's kind of a regular old school where you have to zip off the cover and you have to unfold it, which is more of an old school design as opposed to the new, you just unhook it and the whole hard shell opens up. Those would be nice to have. But for our use, the way we run this truck, this is the best solution so far that we've found. What else, Jay? We've got, oh, the mud flaps. The mud flaps. That's exciting. Mud flaps, right? Rec Gen mud flaps. Apparently there's, I'm learning this, but apparently there's a lot of back and forth about whether the mud flaps are a necessity or not. When you're off-roading, a lot of people say that they can get ripped off or whatever, but we found them to be awesome. They protect the truck really nice. It doesn't have a bunch of rock chips in it. They have definitely done their job. I'm not sure if we said in the beginning or not, but when we go overlanding, we're not in it to break our truck. This is an expensive piece of gear. I'm not interested in pushing its limits. I'm not interested in seeing what it can do. I just want to go out and have a good time and spend the night in nature and hang out with my husband. So those were a really good piece of gear as well.
All right, so that's a quick down and dirty on an overview of the outside of the truck. We'll do another one on the inside of the truck, so we got a lot of fun things in there for you too. If you have any questions on anything, hit us up in the comments below, or if you want to see anything in more detail, like how exactly that rack is mounted to the Diamondback or something like that, hit us up in the comments and we can do a quick run through on that too. But overall, the capabilities of this truck with the Bilstein shocks, the new wheels, especially those KO2 tires, have made a huge difference off-road, like night and day difference.
Yeah.
Definitely worth the money, definitely worth spending just a little bit more money to get better components has made a big difference.
I would say so.
Right?
I would say that all of these purchases have been Dirt Road Couple recommended.
Recommended.